Stand. Stand. And you've been sitting much too long, much too long. Welcome, 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 welcome to Truth, a radio program designed with you in mind, a program whose sole purpose is to empower you, our listeners, for information leads to knowledge, and knowledge is, you got it, power. And as always, I want to empower you to take control of your life, those things that impact you and your family, as always, too. I want you to go to the website at www.gwen-truth.com so you can access all those all-powerful all those all-powerful links that will link you to those all-powerful listings that will make you what? All-powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of our listeners for listening. And thank you, too, for all that you do to make the world a better place. You know, there's a reason that God allows us to continue to live, right? And that reason, of course, is so that we can do good, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. As has been stated, I'm Gwen Azama-Edwards, former city commissioner, retired city clerk, city of Daytona Beach, author, minister, St. John Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated, and community volunteer, and a person who cares about you and, of course, the community. And as a result of that, we broadcast programs that will inform and empower you. So be sure to go to the website, www.gwen-truth.com, so you can access all the videos that have been uploaded to YouTube. You can have access to all of that information that has been recorded for you and your empowerment. Okay. I want to, before we get into the great program concerning Bethune-Cookman University, I just want to encourage all of our listeners to be sure to go to an upcoming concert. The concert is scheduled on July 19th. That's a Saturday at 7 p.m. The doors open at 6:30, and it is a concert that will take you back to the 70s, guys. You know, the time when you could, as somebody said to me, understand the words in the music. And it will benefit, and it's called, actually, the program scholarship fund is called Keep a Child from Sleeping Under the Bridge. That's the scholarship fund. So get your tickets. They still have tickets for sale. You can get tickets by calling 386-338-3103. That's 386-338-3103. Okay? And again, that benefits is a benefit concert that benefits homeless BCU students so that they don't have to continue to sleep under the bridge and they can get a great education. They've had examples of students at Bethune-Cookman who have done fantastic, even though they were homeless. So in spite of, with God's help, they did an outstanding job at the college, and we applaud them for their stick-to-itiveness, and we applaud all of you for giving a listening and also helping out.
You're on one.
And helping us out by, thank you, helping us out by, oh wow, helping us out by buying your tickets and supporting Bethune-Cookman College in every way you possibly can. Continue to do that. Okay, our guest tonight is Dr. Claudette McFadden. And she is the Senior Policy Advisor to the President, President Jackson. And I want you all to give a listen to not only what she's sharing, But I want you to understand too that this is a great lady who has helped so many young people. I had the opportunity of being at an affair recently where they were recognizing some individuals, great men in our county who've done so much to help not just youth but other people in the community. And we were sitting at the same table, and I saw so many of your students coming up and hugging you and thanking you for all that you had done to help them over the years. I mean, it was just fabulous, Dr. McFadden. And
that was a blessing.
You are a blessing. You are a blessing. You've been a blessing to them and to so many. And we thank the President for being wise enough to have you in this position and to continue to allow you to help even more youth. And I know there's a lot that's planned, a lot that's going on at Bethune-Cookman University, but you asked and you're here so that you can share a lot of the programming that's in place and that's upcoming for the students, as well as doing some good things for the community. If you would take just a moment for those who don't know you, I can't imagine there are that many people, but for those who do not know you, if you take just a moment just to share a tiny bit of your resume, and then share what it is that you're doing in working with and helping the president of Bethune-Cookman, the great Bethune-Cookman University, President Jackson, to accomplish some of the policies that he would like to see kind of take off actually in the community.
Well, thank you. Let me first thank you for having me on your show this evening. It is a pleasure and a blessing to be here and to have a chance to talk about the great Bethune-Cookman University. I am fortunate to be going into my 25th year at the university.
Wow.
And it really doesn't seem like it's been that long. I came in August of 1990, and I always say my son, whose name is Joshua, who remains the light of my eyes, and he started walking 2 weeks after we got here. I was talking to Judge Grimes the other day and reminded him that his son, Jamal, and his daughter Evan, they actually helped Joshua along because one of them took one hand and the other took the other, and they walked him up and down the hallway at Martha Davis's house at that time, and before you knew it, he was walking. So it's been a wonderful experience for me to be here in Daytona Beach, and certainly to be a part of Bethune-Cookman University. I've got the greatest job I've ever had. And I have to thank my president for that, because he's given me the opportunity as his senior policy advisor for presidential initiatives to do a great many things, a great variety of things, the kinds of things that feed my spirit, that give me the opportunity to work with people of all kinds and to do any number of very interesting assignments. And so I count it as a blessing every day that I go into the office and get busy doing any number of things that I have on my agenda to try and get done on that day. And so, where do we begin? There's much to talk about. There's so much going on at Bethune-Cookman that is just a blessing. I remember, I often say to Dr. Jackson, I remember the very first agenda that you gave to your senior staff, and at the top of that agenda it said a scripture, right out of scripture. I think it was Micah 6, or it might be 3:6, but your audience will know the scripture. To love mercy, to do justice, and to walk humbly with your God. And I will just never forget that, because that's told me so much about who our new president was and is. And so when we talk about what we are doing with our students on campus and what how we embrace the community, it just reminds me of the days of Project Reclaim so much. And you'll remember Project Reclaim in 1994 when we started Reclaim, and people in the community still remember Reclaim. But it's just so reminiscent of that time when we embraced the community, and because we are one, there is no separation. I live in the community, I'm a resident, you're a resident, you know, this is home for us.
Right.
And so one of the things we really try to do with our students and for our students is to help them to understand that this is home for them. That regardless of where you come from, you really lay your head at night on a bed here in Daytona Beach more than you do where you came from.
Absolutely.
So this is home, and so you want to care about Daytona Beach and what happens here and what happens with the university, and so you want to be actively engaged. So one of the things that I am really, really excited about, there are two things in particular, out of my list of about 12 things that I'm excited about, but certainly one of them, and we know it's novel and innovative, is that we have a new fatherhood institute at the Cookman. Young fatherhood. See, this is key. Young fatherhood, because there's a lot going on in the country as it relates to fatherhood. We know President Obama has a national fatherhood initiative, but we're talking about young fathers, and these are fathers who are between the ages really of 14 and 24. And so on our campus, of course, we don't have 14-year-olds, but we have young men who are student fathers. And we have an amazing relationship with an organization called Young Fathers of Central Florida that is founded and by a gentleman named Haki Nkrumah. And Mr. Nkrumah comes to the university twice a week, and for about 3 hours spends time with our young fathers. And it's really been amazing to see them come to him and talk to him about their issues. And I'm so excited because these are young men who want to do a good job at being a father. They are excited that the university is interested in them as a separate population of young men who, because they are fathers, have another set of challenges. So our concern is always, with all of our students, of course, is retaining them to the point of being graduated. When you have additional challenges, whether or not you're a student father or student mother, because we have student mothers too, there are just some additional challenges that those students who are not parents simply don't have. And so we're excited about the opportunity to engage these young men because we know that when they are strengthened and the relationship with their children is strengthened and fortified in any of the ways that we can assist them, then we know that the community is made stronger, that their families are made stronger. And so that's just really, really important to us. You know, I applaud Dr. Jackson because I knew right away that what happens in the lives of black men was extremely important. And so it should come as no surprise that we have a Young Fatherhood Institute at the Cookman. We just see so many amazing things coming out of that. And there are so many opportunities and possibilities associated with it. One of the things that I'm working on now is actually a grant proposal. And we talk about fatherhood initiatives nationwide, but this really is the very first proposal that's come down from the federal government that is focused on young fathers. And in particular, it is a grant opportunity that is looking at strengthening the relationship between young fathers and their children. And these young fathers, interestingly enough, are young fathers who are re-entering the community after having been in confinement facilities, either detention centers or jails. And so the process of re-entering the community and having the kind of support you need is just very real and very important to really understand those dynamics, and so that they can be successful. At the end of the day, it's really about lowering and preventing that recidivism rate. And because obviously if something happens and they return, then the opportunity to strengthen the relationship between themselves and their children obviously is challenged significantly. They still have to be fathers. I don't care where they are. They still have to be fathers. But clearly there's some real challenges if that happens. And so I'm excited to be working on that grant proposal because we see some opportunities that we can really make a difference, especially as it comes to the opportunities for the university to really begin to do some major pieces of research as it relates to this topic. There just isn't a lot being done up until now in the world of young fatherhood. And so if we can not only graduate young men who happen to be parents, with a degree, but also with a state of mind that tells them that being a father also is serious business, that I accept my responsibility, that my children's future matters, that what I do in the community is major in terms of who I am to her or him, and who I will be for the world. I mean, all of that is just huge and extremely exciting to us. So I guess you can hear my enthusiasm.
Yes, I can, and your passion is awesome.
I am passionate, and the reason I'm passionate is because my father wasn't there. And so when I see these young men who are stepping up and saying, this is important to me, and I want to be there for my child, I tell you, it makes my day every day.
And when you look at statistics, which indicates that for a lot of parents, of families where there's a single parent household, and mostly that's a woman that's heading that household, it's an important issue, truly, not just for our area, but for the nation.
Absolutely. There are so many issues related to households where the father is absent. Oh, there's just a laundry list of all kinds of problems that emerge when he is not there, and so many problems and issues that could be prevented when he is there. That's why it really troubles me when I hear women sometimes say, oh, I'm going to have a child, I can do it on my own, I can raise him by myself, I don't need him. You know, the research says something very different in terms of the consequences of his absence. And so I think that we really need to look at what good heart data tells us about how important his presence is. And if not physically in the house, certainly in the life of that child.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now you said there was another thing that you're passionate about, that you're also involved in another area.
Yes, it's so interesting because not only is Dr. Jackson very excited about our male students, he's also excited about our female students. And so in January, when I met with him, he said, Dr. McFadden, I have something else for you to do. So I listened very carefully, and what he had for me to do was to begin to work with our female students and faculty and staff, and it has really been a blessing. And we have a group of women and students in the group who have been meeting every week this summer. And that kind of commitment is just really exciting. And so we now have evolved into a group that we have decided to call World-Class Women's Development Initiatives. And I am really excited about world-class women because early on Dr. Jackson used that term, world-class. And it just stuck with me. It just says, when you use the term world class, it just speaks about a standard. It removes anything that is average. It removes everything that is mediocre, and it really, really calls for a certain behavior, a certain response, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's also an aspiration. But I just think the possibilities that are a part of world class are just endless. And so we're excited about what that might look like for our students in particular. One of the things that our group has been able to do is to partner with the freshman orientation that has been going on this summer. We have been bringing in our new freshmen in groups. And so we have the first group to come in June, and another group came in on yesterday, and then they're there today. And then our last group will come in August, and then a couple of days after they come in, they'll all be there. So, but one of the interesting things that has come out of the World-Class Women's Development Initiatives is a panel discussion that we have put together for the young women in particular. And so on yesterday, we had an audience of 300 plus freshman females in the chapel. And we were talking about, the panel of students talked about relationships. And it was just very exciting. The students were very involved and very interested in what they had to say. And one of the things that we have been doing as a group is collecting what we call "I wish someone had told me" statements, and it's been quite intriguing because we have wanted to share that with our freshman students and with all of our students really. And so toward the end of the panel discussion and that session in particular, we then had individuals, faculty and staff and students to stand up and just as loudly and as clearly as they could say, "I wish someone had told me." And you get everything from, "I wish someone had told me not to wait to the last minute to do my research paper," to, "I wish someone had told me that senior really wasn't interested in me, and I should have known that we didn't have anything in common." So you get students who then chuckle and laugh and say, "Oh yeah," and "Amen," and applaud, and you get all those kinds of responses to the "I wish you had told me," someone had told me statements. Our goal is to produce a book called "I Wish Someone Had Told Me."
Wonderful.
And so the students are really excited about that, and we are very excited about that. And I want to invite you to contribute to that because we would love you to have you share some "I wish," because I know you got some now.
Oh yeah.
"I wish someone had told me." We all have them.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
But our goal is to help our young women in particular to avoid some of the pitfalls and some of the challenges, because we all will have enough of them.
Yes, yes.
But if we can prevent some of the bad things that can happen from happening, because they're just young and inexperienced, and then that's what we want to do. And we think the book will help kind of and give them something to focus on and talk about, and who knows what will happen from there.
I agree, because one of the things, especially that psychologists, psychiatrists will tell you too, is too many times people are kind of enveloped in their own world, and they don't realize that some of the things they're experiencing, others have experienced as well.
Absolutely.
So as unique as it is for them, it's really not unique,
That is so
you know,
true.
in the greater world.
Absolutely.
And as a result, knowing that somebody else has felt the same, has experienced the same,
Yes.
always puts a broader brush on whatever it is and how we're
Yes.
viewing life.
Yes.
And it kind of normalizes everything,
It
such
does.
that we can go ahead and pick up and just keep going forward.
That's very true.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to that. I will. I do have some things I can contribute in
please
terms
do.
of that.
I like that.
those-
And I do want to say, to use this opportunity, because at our last meeting, we said, we really should invite our alum to contribute, because to the "I wish you had" statements. And so those in the audience who are within Cookman University or college graduates, please send us, and you can send any of your "I wish someone had told me" statements to me at my email address, which is mcfaddec@cookman.edu. We would certainly love to include them.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
Yes.
Very, very, that's excellent. That is really excellent. And even though these two initiatives are those that you're very, very passionate about and the like, and as you said, you're passionate about so much.
I am.
You have the energy and the
And I haven't even begun to
to
talk about world-class women, because we got a whole bunch of stuff, on the agenda in the fall semester. And I also want to say that it again, in support of our freshman orientation, we will sponsor a worship fellowship on the 14th of August, which is a Thursday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Performing Arts Center. It's something we really want to do for our freshman girls and or females. And so the community, we really want women to come and be there and join us in that worship service. And so for persons who are listening, this is your invitation. 2 o'clock in the Performing Arts Center. It's a worship fellowship service that we are going to sponsor in conjunction with the School of Undergraduate Studies Freshman Orientation Program, as something to bring to our freshman females. An hour of worship and praise.
Okay, and that date is again?
It's August 14th.
Okay, wonderful.
Thursday.
Thursday,
Yes.
August 14th at 2 p.m.
Yes.
In the Performing Performing Arts Center.
Exactly.
At Bethune-Cookman University. The great Bethune-Cookman University.
University. Yes, yes, absolutely. And so as we move into the semester, another program that we are developing is a business women's fair.
Oh.
Now we believe this is going to be the first of its kind, because what we know that as women, we many times, and people in general, you're always looking for ways in this economy to supplement your income.
Right, right.
And so I know at Bethune-Cookman we have in the School of Business opportunities for students to come and talk about their business plans and to share what they are interested in doing in business. And so I sat in on a session a few months back, and it was just so interesting to hear these students talk about their businesses. There was one young woman who had a cupcake business. It had the cutest business card. And someone else, there was a young man who was interested. He was from, and I can't think of the country, but wherever he was from, there was nothing like timeshares. And he wanted to take that idea of timeshares to his country. And I thought that was very interesting. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to give women on our campus, our students, our faculty, our staff, an opportunity to showcase whatever businesses they have.
Oh, awesome.
And we want to invite women in the community to come and do the same thing.
Yes.
And we just think that's going to be a glorious sight to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, women who have either goods or services, they get to know each other, get to meet each other, people come and hopefully buy something from them, and just so that we can support each other. You know, one of the kind of slogans that's come out of our meetings together is that as women, we want for our sisters what we want for ourselves.
Oh.
It's just an easy thing.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So we're excited about that too. And
do you have a date planned for
we
that?
do.
Or?
That's going to be Monday, October 6th. It's the very first, it's the Monday leading into homecoming.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
Yes.
A business women's fair.
Yes.
A woman's fair.
A woman's fair.
Business woman's fair.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Well, you're just full of all kinds of
We got great stuff going
great
on.
ideas. And, oh, wow. But I do want
Yes.
our audience to know, too, that with everything that's going on campus, you guys are also involved with a lot that's happening also outside of campus. Actually, not just because I don't want to make it sound like, okay, this is happening on campus, that's happening there, and you're not actually getting interweaved and involved together, because it is.
Because yes, absolutely. Yes. You know, I'll use one of Dr. Jackson's expressions. The truth of the matter, and it is. The truth of the matter is that if we aren't connected to the community, then our purpose for existing has just really failed. You know, we're only as valuable as we can be in terms of making a difference in the lives of other people. And so, you know, Scripture tells us, to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
And so whatever we have at the university, you know, our doors are open. One of the things that we look at doing this year is beginning to look at exploring bringing on young fathers who are in the community. That are not necessarily enrolled at the university. And that's really important, because so often what happens is when a young man becomes a father, many times no one says to him, you can still get a degree. It's get a job. And because you got to take care of your child. And yes, you do have to do that, but you still can get a degree.
Right, right.
And so we want there to be, we want Bethune-Cookman certainly to be seen as that university, that institution of higher learning, where the young father really does have a place where he can come and continue to develop, continue to earn a college degree, and even an advanced degree, because we do have a graduate school.
Yes, yes.
And so what we do on campus, you know, the community is just the extended campus. It really is. And so I say, one of the things I'm thinking about is a program that we had earlier today. Today we celebrated Dr. Bethune's 139th birthday. And
wow.
and we had just an amazing program in the chapel, and saw just the most exciting 10-minute DVD, and I'm going to give a shout out to Lynn Thompson.
Yes, yes.
Because Lynn, that video, that DVD, which I saw the credits and it said written and produced, I believe, by Lynn Thompson. It just brought tears to my eyes. It was just beautiful.
And you said it was narrated by...
And it was Harry Burney.
Harry Burney.
Played the part of Mr. Brown. Throughout the 10 minutes, he was really interweaving the "I leave you" statements from Dr. Bethune's last will and testament. But it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience just to be there and watching that. And one of the reasons I think about that time period this morning is because the auditorium was filled with young people, with children, and of course, and adult members of the community as well. But one of our summer programs was ending today. And so the young people were there for that, and we had a group of about 7 or 8 of them that actually participated in the program, and so they were on stage reciting a little bit, memorized now. They didn't read, memorized excerpts of the "I leave you" statement. So that was just really, really wonderful. And this particular program is a program that Mr. Al Boyd was responsible for organizing for the summer, and it went very well. We had almost 100 students in that program this summer.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And our listeners need to know that these types of youth programs are things that you guys have been doing for the last several years.
Yeah.
And you have different ones you have certain ones for males. I know you've done some for males. You've done some
we've had Black Male Explorers for years.
Yes.
And with President Jackson, we will have more. That's a given, absolutely. The commitment to the community is just that strong. Yes.
And Dr. McFadden and I were talking about that DVD, which was so fantastic that they should use that as a fundraiser, but not just in terms of the fundraising, but also because there are a lot of people who realize and appreciate the strength of what was provided and given to Bethune-Cookman College, now University, by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. She was, and in our memories will always be, an awesome, awesome lady who has done so much, not just for the college or university, but also for this community and for the nation as a whole in terms of all the things that she has had an impact on, everything she's had her hand in, and I know there are a lot of people who would just love to have any and every bit of information in memorabilia, whatever that they can regarding Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. And I, for one, would love to have my hands on that DVD or whatever so that I can share it with others. So
absolutely, that was my first response. When it was over, the only thing I could say is, I want one of those. I want that.
Yes.
Because I wanted to watch it again right away.
Yes.
And so I couldn't help but think we really need to make that available.
And so that people know it's not just pictures, but also her voice.
Her voice,
and it's a rarity that you actually hear something where you hear the voice of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. And when you hear her voice, I mean, it is like, oh, yes, yes, yes. Such boldness, and I mean, when you hear her, you just go, yes, yes. That's why I can understand when people say to me, when people who grew up and worked around her and stuff, when Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune asked you to do something, you didn't say no.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I don't think that people, when they say you didn't say no, it's because of any fear. It's because of
respect.
Of respect, and because you just wanted to be a part of whatever her vision was, because you knew her vision was what God Himself wanted to happen. It's just so amazing when even though I've been at the university for a while now, there is today's celebration of Dr. Bethune's birthday, and I've been to several of them. Today's was extremely special to me. And again, I think the DVD had a lot to do with that. But all the pieces were special. The curator for the Mary McLeod Bethune Foundation, Dr. Ashley Robertson, She has done and is doing an amazing job.
Yes, yes.
And so I'm going to, on Dr. Robinson's behalf, extend an invitation to the community to please come and see Dr. Bethune's home. Many people know that it was closed while it was under renovation, but if you haven't come back to see it, you really must.
Oh, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Absolutely.
I've taken a tour, and I had shared with you that when our family comes next year for our family reunion, we're going to do the tour as a family as well. And just awesome, just to look at those pieces from that time period, the furniture, etc., that's in her home, and to hear the stories about different aspects of her life as well. And the curator is just fabulous because she brings a lot of that to life while she's talking. Absolutely. And shares things, little known things that people really aren't normally exposed to in terms of just tidbits and information about her life and that of her family and those that she had known and had contact with. When we say and we talk about phenomenal people, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune has to be at the very top, the apex of that. And it's unfortunate that, you know, that Daytona Beach does not fully understand such that they can fully appreciate that total impact. But they're getting more and more getting into it. Yes, yes.
The saying, a prophet is without honor in his own country.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it definitely rings true. It rang true of Jesus. It definitely rings true of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune as well. Yes. I need to do a commercial break just to say that you're listening to Truth with Gwen Azama-Edwards. This is WLE 1380 AM on your radio dial. It's also BID 1380 AM on your radio dial in Ormond Beach, Florida. And we were very, very happy to have all of our listeners with us. And the individual who's with me today as a guest is proud and passionate individual who is a part of Bethune-Cookman University, and it is Dr. earned, not honorary, earned Dr. Claudette McFadden, who is a senior policy advisor to the President Jackson at Bethune-Cookman University. And we're talking about a lot of the initiatives that are underway and that are already in place at Bethune-Cookman University. And I was going to share and to kind of jump off into a lot of the community things that you guys are, besides the ones that you started initiating and trying to make sure that community knows that it is a part of the university. University is a part of the community. They are one and the same. They're part of a great total network of what's going on and what's needed and what's available to citizens as well as students and faculty, staff, etc. But you guys are involved. You had an initiative that you kind of promoted during the last faith forum, which was something to work with youth and share with our listeners the faith involvement and what it was that was actually approved by them. Yeah, well, that was really a very exciting time for us. We are probably, to my knowledge, the only university that is a member of faith. And so, but we're happy to be very actively involved, and so faith is a justice ministry, and so it's really interesting because next week I'll be going to St. Petersburg for the 3rd annual Justice Ministry Conference, and so our involvement with faith this past year really was looking at what we could do as it relates to the civil citation, and the civil citation is a citation that a police officer can give to a young person that will allow the young person not to be arrested, but to do some other things in response to having violated some ordinance or broken some law. And clearly these are not felony kinds of crimes, but crimes that are suited for the civil citation instead of an arrest. It was a very interesting process because one of the things we did on campus was to have, they're called house meetings, and that's probably a term that's more suited for the church. And so these meetings take place in churches also, of course, and in the congregations that are members of faith. And that's at the early stages of the process where
you have a chance to have people come together and talk about issues, things that they're concerned about, things that they're worried about, problems they see in the community, or groups of people in the community that they believe might be suffering some kind of injustice and need to have someone to care for them in some way. And so we did the same thing on campus. And so we had, and I certainly need to thank Linda Preston, because she's one of our faculty members who is very, very much committed to the work of faith and engaging our students. Mm-hmm. And so Linda pulled together, I think, either 2 or 3 campus meetings and had groups of students to come and talk about issues that they were concerned about. Mm-hmm. And one of those issues was homelessness. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just amazing the kinds of problems and issues that young people arrive at the university with. Mm-hmm. You know, we see them, but there is so much more that we don't see. Yeah. And so and that really informs us in terms of how we should respond to them. And it helps us to understand that oftentimes when they respond to a faculty or staff member a certain way, it really isn't about us at all. Mm-hmm. It's really about all these other kinds of things that they are trying to wrestle with and navigate, while at the same time trying to get a college degree. and so the students talked about a lot of those issues, and then from there we had a large group of students to travel to a church in New Smyrna Beach later in the process, mm-hmm. So that we could ultimately decide on what issue or topic mm-hmm. would be our focus for the year. And as it would have it, it did end up being the civil citation. Mm-hmm. But we were very pleased to host the Action Assembly at the university on, I think, April 7th mm-hmm. of this year. And to see so many of our elected officials come out and to be supportive of really working to reduce the number of arrests that mm-hmm. Seem to have been taking place with very young people. Mm-hmm. And we know how difficult it is and near impossible to do anything in terms of a person's record if there is an arrest on it. And for that to happen when a young person is 12 or 11 or 14 or 15, it's just so unfortunate. Mm-hmm. And then one of the things we learned that even when you talk about getting a charge expunged or removed, mm-hmm. it's really not removed. Mm-hmm. You know, it still comes out. And so our goal, of course, is to do whatever we can do, and our goal was to do whatever we could do to just create opportunities so that just did not happen mm-hmm. in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so we were very happy with the outcome.
I found it interesting when I went to the League of Women Voters legislative seminar, and we had someone from the Department of Juvenile Justice, and I raised the issue to her about the success that you Faith had in having the sheriff and others, you know, kind of yes. buy in on that. And one of the things that she said was that was something they were trying to get. They tried to at first force it on all of the counties, and then they found out they couldn't force it. She said the governor tried to actually force it so that would be the case. But they were unsuccessful in doing that. So then they went to people volunteering, mm-hmm. and whoever volunteered, they were willing to do it. So it's great that you guys were able to bring that to the forefront. And then they stand ready to provide whatever assistance is yes. required or necessary, because they're into doing more of the community-based type of juvenile justice yes, activities. Yes. And so I mentioned about the county, and she was very pleased to hear it. She took a little note, yes. and hopefully, you know, there is something that will be going on in terms of the kind of support that may be needed, mm-hmm. you know, to help ensure that everything falls into place, because yes. they know all the ways and proper ways to do it, all the procedures, all that kind of stuff. So, but I applaud the university for not only taking that under their wings and the students and trying to make something great and good come out of it. And not only that, but those who fell in line and supported it as well. Absolutely. And they're working to bring it to fruition.
One of the things that's really important for us as a university in terms of the kinds of experience we want our students to have, is that we really know how important civic engagement is. And to to create those opportunities for students to be engaged and to be involved, it's just extremely important. It would be such a disservice to all that God has put into them to offer the world not to have opportunities to develop in that way.
Right.
Because they will leave the university and return to communities around the country and throughout the world. And for them to have that degree and all that comes with it, and not to be involved in the communities where they live, or to know how to be involved, would just be such a disservice, and we will not have served them well. So I'm excited that we are involving them even more, and I look forward to what will happen in terms of their engagement this year. I say that, and as I say it reminds me of the kind of excitement we're hoping to generate around the midterm elections. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome, because I know in the past Bethune-Cookman has been engaged in terms of the political side of it, as it relates to the social side of it as well. So, and it's been really great to watch that whole process as well take place. Now, one of the issues that you mentioned as well had to do with FRAG, which I know, being a graduate alumni of Cecil University, is real important to them too, because it gets into private colleges and universities and the funding that's involved in that. Share with us a little in reference to FRAG.
Well, one of the things that, one of my responsibilities this past year and previous year has been to serve as a mentor for the two students who are our presidential fellows for ICUF, which stands for the Independent Colleges and Universities of Florida. And in particular, what these two students do is to develop a campaign for the purpose of keeping FRAG in front of students, so that they certainly are aware that the legislature is responsible for them getting these dollars. And we want the legislators to remain committed to doing so, and if at all possible, to increase it. And there has been a bit of an increase, and so we're excited about that. And so one of the things that these young people, the two students we had this year, involved in this, Erica and Vanna Noel, and what is Erica's last name? I think Jones. And so we actually had a FRAG superhero contest. And so we got some really interesting drawings of the superhero. I think the winning superhero looked like a male. The female looked like a female Superman. But it was really interesting because she had a cape, and on the front she had the emblem was not an S, but the emblem was the state of Florida, and with a caption that said something like, "Don't let," something about fragmentation. She used the word frag in her kind of quote or slogan. It was very creative, and there were small prizes that they were able to get for doing that. And so I think the young people did a very good job.
Yes, and the key behind that is to the funds that are made available for students to actually attend.
Oh yes,
private institutions.
Absolutely.
Private institutions.
Absolutely.
And financial competence and student loan success committee.
Well, one of the things that I have as an assignment is to chair our university-wide committee that is called the Student Financial Competence and Student Loan Success Committee. One of the things that we are always concerned about, and universities throughout the country are concerned about, is the student loan default rate. And it's really hard to end up with a college degree without owing anything. And we know that many times there are real challenges in terms of repaying those dollars, especially in this economy. But one of the things that we are very committed to, as it relates to graduating a certain kind of young professional, is that there is an appreciation for responding maturely and successfully and effectively and being proactive in your response as it relates to those things that are financial. And so we are really excited that there's some wonderful things happening now through the work that Dr. Michelle Thompson is doing as the Vice President for Integrated Learning. And so a piece of that is to really have our students, freshmen and others, actively involved in doing some things dealing with financial competence as a freshman, moving forward throughout their matriculation. And so this committee that I chair, I'm so happy about that work that we do, because it is a broad-based committee. So there are persons who are on the committee who come out of residential life. There are people who certainly come out of financial aid, but there are persons who come out of the classroom, and other persons who are on the committee who come out of public safety. So we wanted to have a face that looked like everybody's concerned about this. We want the best for you as students as it relates to your financial future and well-being, and we want you to make good decisions. We have information for you. And so what we did last year, and we'll continue to do, is to put some things in front of them so that they are making some better choices. And I think working very closely with Dr. Thompson and with persons in financial aid, we'll do an even better job this year than we were able to do last year. I must say, though, that we won first place in the homecoming parade for on-campus floats.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We had a float that had 2 students on it, and students walking alongside. But the 2 students on it were dressed in tattered clothes, and they had I guess play money, of course, sticking out of their clothes. But the sign said, "Don't be a slave to debt." And it was really quite effective.
Oh, fantastic! Fantastic. Yes. And I heard that you walked the whole route in your
heels.
heels.
I didn't intend to, but once when you get started, before you know it, you're just walking.
Yes, ladies, I said heels.
Next year I'll be better prepared.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Now, the Harambee Youth Conference?
We just finished Harambee, and Harambee was a very exciting youth conference. It's United Methodist Church, and we were asked to host it. And the president said, "Oh yes, absolutely, let's do this." And so we ended up with 300 plus young people from the 6th grade to the 12th grade on campus from June 24th to June 29th. And it was really a glorious time. And they were there really to develop themselves in terms of their lives as it relates to their relationship with Christ. And so we had, I think, the last count I heard was about 40 who had accepted Christ.
Oh, wonderful.
And some very inspirational sessions. And we talked about it with someone that told me, and several students said, "I want to get a copy. Where can I get it?" That was very encouraging. And so the Harambee was a blessing for us. And we had a couple of students, a football player and another student, I think, who was in the band, who actually volunteered their time to come and help as musicians. And so we were very grateful for that. It was just a wonderful experience for us to have all these young people on campus, and then to work with the staff from the United Methodist Church who was coordinating Harambee.
As I told you, time usually just slips right away, but I believe we've covered at least much of what we were going to talk about. I don't know if you, as you were talking about the women who are entrepreneurs, have their own businesses and the like, if you wanted to hit on very briefly your own introduction into your own business in terms of shade trees, just to explain to people about shade trees, because I think as you talk about that and share that with individuals, that there's so many people who can relate to what it is that you're talking about, and why it's important to remember those individuals who are shade trees in our lives.
Well, thank you so much. Shade trees is God's gift to me. I know exactly where it came from. And the reason I know is that when I talk about shade trees and I ask people who has been your shade tree, 9 times out of 10 people get very filled up. they get very emotional because they think of somebody who's in their life who was there for them without obligation. And that really is what Shade Trees is. It's an opportunity to remember and honor and celebrate people who have been there for us when they didn't have to be there for us. And we can all think of people like that. And so what Shade Tree does is it creates individual poems for persons who you might want to recognize in that way. There's a standard poem for women who've been shade trees, men who've been shade trees, and then for persons who have a particular person in mind, then I tailor that poem after the person gives me some personal information so that it is clearly for that person.
Right.
And so I call the shade persons who've done that shaders. So I know you're
Yes.
a shader. Because I know you've been there for people. I know that.
As are you, especially.
Well, thanks be to God for that.
Yes.
But I have a poem I'd like to read.
Okay, yes.
I'm going to read the one, because we're two women sitting here. I'll read the one that's for women. God in his great wisdom made all kinds of trees, spruce, pine, fir, sycamore, and walnut too. Some of these trees seem to touch the heavens, while others cats and boys find easy to climb. There are trees that bear fruit, apples of red and green and gold, pears dripping with sweetness, and pineapple trees, mango trees, and coconut too. God in his great wisdom made all kinds of trees, trees that bear fruit and trees that give shade. This poem is for the shade trees of our lives. I've had a few. What about you? God in his great wisdom made women like trees. Some bear fruit and others give shade. Shade from women who didn't have children, but loved other people's children in a mighty way. Women who God filled up with kindness and gentleness and patience overflowing. Women whose labor pains was the wisdom they shared, the many expressions of love they showed, the honest advice they gave, and arms always open wide, pointing the way, shielding against life's storms, embracing without obligation. Women who fed us truth even if it hurt, truths about people and places and things and us. A third-grade teacher, a watchful neighbor, an overprotective aunt, a best friend, an amazing college professor, a counselor, a big sister or brother who gave far more than they ever got. Thank God for those who were unashamed. Thank God for those who were unafraid. Thank God for the shade you gave without obligation. We each have faces and names and memories of our own shade trees. Yes, I've had a few. What about you? Yes, there are trees that bear fruit, and there are trees that give shade. Thank God for the shade trees of our lives. Thank God for you.
Awesome. Awesome. And as you said, you will do those, you individualize them for a particular individual, and you have the ones that are basic ones for men and for women. And anyone who's interested in that, they need only contact you again.
They just need to call me. I have a phone number given out.
Yes.
And it is 386-252-3235. 386-252-3235. We have a website as well, and it's shadetreesinc.com. And it is, so there's some products there. There will be more coming that will simply say shader. I'm a shader. And in the form of a cap or a pen, or all the possibilities are endless. We just have so many people that this gives us an opportunity to say thank you.
Absolutely. And you know, the world would be so much better, an even better place, I should say, if we just took the time and actually made the time to just say thank you. Say thank you. Thank you to God, you know. Thank you to persons who do things not because they have to, but just because they care and they love you and they want to.
That's right.
Yes,
it is so true.
And this is an opportunity to do just that.
It is.
As you said, people who do things without obligation,
absolutely,
but just because. And we can all think of somebody who did that from the time we were in the cradle, you know, straight up to even, you know, the grave. There's always been somebody that God has provided in our lives to help us along life's journey.
And you know, the genesis of shade trees is really interesting because I didn't become a parent until I was almost 40. And so sitting in church on Mother's Day was very hard for me. Because even though I'd been a mentor and a confidant and a friend to so many young people, nobody recognized us. They recognized Mom.
Yes.
And
those who biologically brought them into the world. Yeah.
Exactly. And the same thing happened to men on Father's Day, of course. So, but their expressions always seem to say the same. What about us? And so, in for Mother's Day 2005, I wrote the original Shade Tree poem, which was to honor those women who had not given birth to, who were not biological mothers, but were nonetheless mothers.
Yes, absolutely.
And so clearly, the whole idea of the Shade Tree has expanded now, so that it's about persons who have not given birth biologically or fathered biologically, but nonetheless, all of the people who have given shade in some way, shape, or form.
They're nurturing.
Yes.
Yes, and supportive.
Without obligation.
Absolutely. Well, our time has passed, and so I will give you an opportunity now to just cap what we've been talking about in as short a period as you can, especially in terms of just the overall, general philosophy in terms of Bethune-Cookman University and what it's doing on campus and off campus as well.
The first thing that comes to mind are the words, we are engaged in God's work. You can't, when you think of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, and the legacy that she left and her life's work, you have to know that was God's work. And so when you commit yourself to being about the business of doing all you can do to make a difference in the lives of people, young and old alike, then you know that God is pleased. And so this really is our mission, to prove ourselves worthy, so that God can not only shine and look at us individually, but can look at the university and say, well done. That really is what it's about. Well done. I think that would really that's what we want for him to, we want him to be pleased with us. And all the works that we do and all the places that we do them on campus, and how it impacts the lives of persons off campus. And so I can't say more than that. If he says well done, that's enough.
Oh yes. You worship him in spirit and in truth, and he wants us to be real.
Yes.
And he wants us to really be true to ourselves. Whether you're on campus, off campus, that's wherever you are, you should be one and the same.
Absolutely.
Just a whole total person. And so we're very grateful for the job that you're doing, and we're very grateful for you, the president of the great Bethune-Cookman University, for all that you're all doing really to unite, college and town.
I must say, I gave the president received the very first Shade Tree poem.
Amen, and thank you. And we
Amen.
thank God for that gift that he's given you as well,
yes.
because we do need to recognize the contributions that people have made in our lives in the various seasons of our lives, because we go through various seasons. And God provides us with somebody along the way,
yes.
kind of take us from one to the next to the next.
And that's very
and
true.
So we're just very grateful to God, and very grateful to you, and very grateful to President Dr. Jackson. And we're grateful to all of our listeners too for giving a listen, and for hopefully, I hope you will, supporting Bethune-Cookman, the great Bethune-Cookman University, because there are a lot of great and awesome things that they're about the business of doing. And I want to remind you too to get your tickets for the concert that's coming up that will also help Bethune-Cookman students who are homeless. They are saying, to get that kid from under the bridge scholarship fund. So buy your tickets for the concert that is coming up, and it will take you back to the 70s. And I've got to say now, I know you're going to get a ticket to Doc.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And Pastor and I are going to get tickets too. And it's the Sweet Soul of the 70s benefit concert. Again, that's Saturday, July 19th. Call the number 338-3103, the Gooding Development. And you know, there are individuals that will be a part of that. The Emotions, Harold Melvin's, Blue Notes, Peaches and Herb, Cuba Gooding, and the main ingredient, and it's hosted by comedian April Gooding. And JoJo, you know JoJo Upstart 94.5. And the special guest who's invited is actor Omar Gooding. So please, please, please support Bethune-Cookman University, bottom line, because they're about some good work. And if we, as we recognize and show our appreciation to the great Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, you know that that university is made of good stuff. Okay? All right. I want to thank all of our listeners for listening, and be sure to tune in every Thursday starting at 6:15 or 6:20. And also go to the website www.gwen-truth.com so you can access all the YouTube's videos that we have, as will this one be on as well in the next couple of days. And like I say, support the university, support Truth Radio Show, and by all means support yourself, your family, your friends, and be kind to your neighbor as well. Until next time, you guys continue to stand tall for that which is right and truthful. Also remember to be informed, be empowered, and just stand tall. And again, this is Truth with Gwen Azama-Edwards, and like you, like Dr. Claudette McFadden, like all of us, we're still standing. You be blessed and have a great week. God bless.
Gwen Azama-Edwards, exclusively every Thursday night on WPLE, 1380 Radio, Ormond Beach, Florida.